Move on to general business. Number 9, resolution 2016-12, recognizing donations received in this fiscal year.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is just a housekeeping item that we have to do annually, just to recognize the donations that we received through fiscal year 16. Just to say thanks to our donors.
Yep. A lot of donors, besides the taxpayers.
Yeah. We had 6 this year. We had New Flyer, Coburn's, Blend, YMCA, Burnix, and WD Management.
Good. All right, number 10, update on the new website.
I'm just going to give a little short demonstration of our new website. Just a few features of it. People can check on their own, but I just wanted you to have a chance to see, going over just quickly over our trip planner, where people can find routes and schedules.
You have to check for a second to warm back up.
Okay, and some of the new, we have new how to ride videos, and then we have easier access to the employment section of our website.
Appreciate it.
So,
Yeah, that's it, rolling out through the web.
the web address is the same, theridemetrobus.com, and this is pulling up. Just gonna make sure I clear it. Make sure. So we're starting over. I just tested it before, and it was cleared. So I'll just show you a trip, a sample trip from House in Sartell. And the thing to notice, it has some things that come up, and there happens to be in case I typed Sartell instead of St. Cloud, that still shows up because it's in our area. So I make sure I select Sartell. And we don't have to type in the address for everything, something like St. Cloud State. Starts to show up. And if I'm looking at, for today, and this is a smaller screen, so I just scroll down. This site is the same on your mobile phone, it just stacks the elements differently. It shows up a little differently, but it's got the same trip planner. And so it processes, and what it does is it's telling me what path to take. So this will be a great benefit, especially to people who are new to the area, new to the system. It gives 3 options. Now from my house in Sartell, there's only like 1 route to take. So it just showed my 3 options are if I go the closest time, or go from 1 hour from now and 2 hours from now. And it'll show you the path down here, and you can, if you look over to the far right, you'll see show details. Does everyone see that? And if I click on that, it opens up the details of that trip, and so it'll tell me where to walk to my bus stop, which route to take, when the next scheduled bus, because I went from departing from now, when the next bus is coming to that stop, and where it's going, and where to transfer to my next bus. And I'll write that down to the transit center. It tells me to transfer at the transit center and to take Route 5. If you look in that red box to the left, upper left corner of the red box, you'll see it says 1 hour and 17 minutes. That is the total trip time from the time I walk to my bus stop. If, for example, our routes are set up in Sartell, this bus comes, there's not much waiting time in between. If they were making a transfer and they needed to wait a little longer, like at the transit center, how some of our routes come in at the top of the hour and some leave at quarter after, it would include that 15 minutes of waiting time in that total trip time. So that gives people a realistic view. That if there were other routes to take, it would show that as different options. Here, so I'm hiding the details. And then you can look down here and you can see the little home symbol. That's where we're starting off. Dash line is walking. And then all those dots are bus stops, and the larger dots are our time points. which for this purpose people don't really need to know. They just know that those are stops. It shows me where I'm transferring here, if you look at the center of the screen. So I can visually see how this route is going. And then down at the bottom you can see there's a little flag like end of destination. You can also plan this trip based on an arrival time. So let's say I knew I needed to be down there at noon. Then I could either use these arrows to advance to the noon time. It automatically advances every 15 minutes. I can also type in that field. And I'm not used to this keypad here. I'm used to mousing, so. And I just click plan my trip. And it recalculates routes. And so then it tells me what time I should catch the bus if I want to be down there. And if you follow it along, that top red bar, I'll arrive at St. Cloud State at 11:52. And it has that same path. This is still what we call in beta mode because, we tested it a lot, but there still might be something we want to always want user feedback because remember our website, we're doing it in 2 phases. This is part of phase 1. Phase 2 allows us to tweak and fine tune it, and we'll also be testing, having a user experience test. But people click there, it says we welcome feedback. People can submit an email to say, we've gotten 1 email so far that the agency is collecting them to put it together to say, okay, here's all the feedback that we got for improvements and what we should do. So the other part is how people access their routes and schedules. So we have this menu bar, and you can expand and collapse the sub-items. We're going to routes and schedules. It's important to know that we still have all our paper schedules. People can still access that information as they always have, picking up a schedule from on the bus or at the transit center or one of the many locations in our community. And here is where we can say, I'm picking Route 1. And the PDFs are still online as well. If I scroll down here, the PDF of the printed schedule is still down there. So this shows me Route 1 and all the different, so this is an example of, I know which route and I just want to see where it's going. Or I want to confirm a time for that stop. This shows you all of Route 1 and on the map, and it shows you all of the stops, and on the left side that lists the stops. And this goes by, when it says in a minute, it's going by, it's at the transit, on the schedule when it's at the transit center, how long does it take to get to these other locations? When I click on another bus stop, it will say how far are those other stops from that stop. And it goes, this isn't real time, it's based on our schedules. We don't have the technology in all of our buses right now to do the real time. So it's the same information people would have if they took the time to figure it out on the schedule. Just to show you, if you click over here on the left-hand side and you pick a stop, say I know that that's where I live. It automatically tells you all the times that the bus is scheduled to arrive at that stop. And it shows you can pick, so that's what the timetable is, all the times for that stop. You can go back to the map or pick next departures where it just shows you the next several departures. So that you don't have to get all the information just when it's leaving from now. And if you click on transfers on the right, that will show you what other routes are in that area. So what's really nice for people is if from where you live, you can see what buses are around the corner if you need to make a transfer, if you want to catch a bus at another spot. When you're on the map, you are also able to just click on the stop, and then you get more information. If I scroll up, this will. You get that same information that's at that top menu, when the next departures are, what buses are nearby with the transfers, the timetable for all the stops, or all the times the bus will be there at that, scheduled for that day. And I can also access the trip planner and kind of use it as an autofill. So say that's where I live, I can say, oh, I'm going from this location, and it fills out that information, and then I can type in, here's where I'm going. So, all right. If I know, just going back to that route and schedules. And I know, say, I'm going to be at Midtown Square. I can also search here and do Midtown Square. And that tells me which routes are serving Midtown Square. Which, if I click, it'll tell me that. And then when they're scheduled. So the other part I wanted to go and show you, just like before, we have our fare information online. So I can click on fares. And just like before, people can buy their passes online. So you can either click it from here and you go to that site and see all the passes, or if you're looking at your fares, you click on buy now. It goes to that site which we've had before, the Shopify site, where people can purchase their passes online. And let's see here. Just like before, information about our services, whether it's fixed route or dial-a-ride. And for example, with dial-a-ride, if people want to download an application or view service guide, they're able to get those PDFs. And just like before, we had a live chat tool from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. where they can talk. People with speech or hearing impairments or medical return appointments can type that, and has our hours, has information about eligibility, the different types of certifications, and all the instructions. And you can download the application. And it's a PDF that they would print out and then send to us, just like before.
So there's no link to type that in and download it automatically?
Not at this time. Part of what we found is, you know, you can type out a PDF and then you have to, there's steps. You have to then save it to your desktop, and then there's a lot of steps. So you still have to save it. Right now, the way it's set up, we don't have it where it emails out and sends it exact PDF. The other part I wanted to show you was in our How to Ride section. We have those new videos. So it has information. We have our How to Ride videos in 3 languages. English and Spanish are posted to the site now, and the company is working on our Somali translations right now. But these are linked to the YouTube, so people just click on them. They can expand them and watch the video in YouTube. And then in our contact, expand that. Sorry. I'm kind of old school and like a mouse. So contact information and it is gonna pull this down. And then it's not, it's because of where I'm at. There. Small screen. Contact information, you can expand and collapse that. And that's where employment can show up right now. And where some of these things are located as part of phase 2, we're doing that study where they're gonna watch how people use the site. And if people are clicking in a different spot, then we'll know like, oh, they're not thinking it's here, they're thinking it's here. And we can make those revisions to put it in a different spot or retitle it. That'll be part of that. So employment. And right now, it's like the other PDFs where you download the application. You can fill it out, but you still, this one you can fill out and attach it. You can go through the steps, or you can write on it, turn it in an old-fashioned way. And then that's what, when you click on apply now, it gets to that application. So, and under contact. Under contact information, it has our 3 facilities and what times they're open and phone numbers. So like the transit center, the hours, the address, the operations center. And just like any internet, if you're on the internet and the type is too small, you change your screen settings. And mobility training center, so it says contact information. Operations center, so you have that, as well as this menu here that has a listing of phone numbers on how to reach departments, just like on our old site had a listing of all of those as well. So that, in a nutshell, is just the general overview of our website and some of the new features of that trip planner, those interactive route and schedule map, and then those new holiday videos. That was all I wanted to show you today. So.
Very good. How far, or this class or issue, but are we away from having an app?
So one of the things that people can do, which operates like an app, is if you put our website, just like any website, and you can put it to your screen, save it to your desktop, and it acts a lot like an app, because if you put that to your desktop, you click on it, it brings up our trip planner, because that's the first thing on that website. As far as how far away it's an app, we'd have to talk about that more, but I think there's some more technology investments that we need to do in order to do that, and to keep it updated.
Like similar to an app, it would have the geolocation for your phone, so hey, I want to go somewhere, where's my nearest bus stop?
Yep, and that I put as a request
Okay.
to see how much that will be in our phase 2 is what I have on my. I'm keeping a long list of future features for that trip planner that would be handy, and as we go into phase 2 to see how many of those that we can implement. So if you have ideas, feel free to email them over or submit when you're doing. If you try the trip planner, there's that submit suggestions, and that's again where we're looking at where all those suggestions are, and then we can look at which ones we can do.
And this is great, but the aspect is I'm looking on this one right now, and when I pull up a map, the challenge is still, is still a PDF on the map.
Actually, are you looking at routes and schedules?
Yeah.
The website is actually, if you wait a little bit, it will go over to.
I'll actually go to Google.
No, I don't know, here's my phone. If I click on that and I go to maps and schedules, just like it looked on screen, and I click routes and schedules. If I wait a little bit. So then I get the screen just like up there where you had the boxes with your pick your route. And just like before, there's a little arrow if I want to expand to see all the routes, or collapse, so just to see the top 9. So it's like a 1 second delay. It's like how it pulls up the PDFs, and then a second later it's this. And then on your phone, like I said, things get stacked differently. So you can you scroll down to get information versus having it all there. And then if you pick a route, like I click on a route 1. It takes a little bit to pull it up, like half a second, but it has that same information. And then list of stops, timetable, map, next departures, transfers, just like before, so you can still see the map that way as well.
So I'm trying to think, and I don't want to know, because normally I would just ask Siri, but I don't want to do that. But if I'm just at someplace in town, this is what I'm trying to get at some point in an app, where I could just say, how do I get to Crossroads? And then if I do Google, obviously it'll show me walk, car, transit.
Mm-hmm.
So is the transit piece being able to connect me to what bus I need? I mean, that's at some point, that's
Eventually we'll get there, but right now.
How far, I mean, or
So
we
when-
can explore
so-
that to see,
yeah.
I know it's a cost issue, but
Yeah.
it would be, this is what most people use. And so, and having that ability to actually have the option of, walk, car, or transit, increase transit, people have to
And-
see what bus stop am I
Yeah,
actually
and I can look into that. When we worked on this project and we looked at what other systems have, a lot have Google Maps and something else, because Google Transit can only do that feature, where this allows people to do it like, here's where I am, here's where I'm going, so it has that trip planning feature, as well as access to here's Route 1 and here are all the bus stops for Route 1 and seeing that. Does that make sense to you? So it's something we can look at. For this website, what we looked at was we would get the trip planning feature plus these other features. Oh. Any other questions?